You stupid bitch. Yeah, you're a stupid bitch. You stupid bitch. Welcome to this week's episode of Stupid Bitches Say What? The Aussie podcast about everything and nothing, but always with wine. And your hosts, Skyly Collett and Sean Hipkins.
This week, it's What's the Haps, please? The episode where we discuss the topics that piqued our interest over the last 4 weeks. Listen in as we cover the Coffin Confessor, Yellowstone update, Burning Man chaos, can't wait for that, SATC update, Screaming Plants, Fyre Festival 2, NRL Grand Final, Poop turns a flight around, and Jimmy Fallon. It's back. Hold on to your headset, folks. It's time to hear our take on things, please. What are you drinking, Sean?
Well, currently, I'm just finishing off my last sip of the rosé from previous episode, 2 secs.
Skull, 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 skull.
Goes down well. And
You're not even going to rinse the glass. You're just going to pour it straight in there. That's dirty.
I ain't that fancy. So I'm drinking a white tonight because it is so hot. Well, rosé.
Still a white, love.
It's a chill.
No matter how you look at it.
And this one, I don't know if we've ever drunk this type of wine on here. I could be wrong. You have done the catalogue. Correct me if so. I'm drinking a Riesling.
I fucking hate Rieslings.
So this is a Lang Estate 5th generation 2021 Riesling from the Frankland River region in Western Australia. I don't really remember drinking them. I think I got it in a pack. Doesn't have much of a dimple in the bottom, so that doesn't say much. Doesn't that mean it's fancy?
Don't know.
The deeper the dimp.
Fancy or not. But the reason we haven't drunk a Riesling on the podcast is because I thought we were both in agreement that Rieslings fucking suck.
No, I don't mind it. It's actually going down okay.
Sweet.
It's not too sweet for my palate.
Rieslings generally are super sweet.
This one's okay. And I don't really like, well, when it comes to a white, I don't mind if it's too sweet. I don't like a Moscato or an ice wine, as we know. But this one's not too bad.
See, I thought a Riesling was pretty close to a Moscato. The last time I drank Riesling was back when it was Cruchon Riesling, the Brown Brothers one. That was all the fad when I was about probably 20.
Oh, yes.
And everyone used to be like, you want to go halves in a bowl of Cruchon? And you go,
get your fucking own. I'm getting a cask of goon for the same amount, cunt.
That was when half a bowl of wine was just pre-gaming, you know?
Yeah.
That was the drinks that you had sculling quickly while you put your makeup on before you went out. Before you got to the real partying.
At the Alex.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, gross.
But it's actually not too bad. See, a Chardonnay, I think we can both agree is shite.
Yes. Don't ever buy me a Riesling.
Dirty, rotten Riesling, you shan't. And what, pray tell, are you drinking, you stupid fucking bitch, Scar?
Not to be unoriginal or anything, but I'm still drinking vodka sodas with the same tea bag in from last episode.
Well, I could see the colour is not as strong. It's like you've gone from a rosé to a white as well.
I had a chamomile and spearmint that I thought about putting in, but I thought,
no, I don't think so.
That's definitely one you have to drink hot just before bed.
Yeah, and chamomile's meant to make you sleepy, isn't it?
Yeah, indeed. So like I've got nothing to report except still the same drink, just another big fat glass.
All right, well, just give us the taste is strong, even though the colour is definitely not.
The vodka's strong, yeah, for shiz.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I know.
But can you taste the cranberry?
Not as much as I could before. No, not at all.
You got to let it brew, Tals.
I do need to let it brew. I think it's brewed out.
Everyone's jiggling.
It sat for an hour in that last glass, and now it's in again. It's got nothing left to give.
It's looking at you going, what more do you want from me?
I can't give you anything. I'm done. I'm out. Chuck me in the bin.
You cheap bitch.
But Scars is going to get a bit pissy tonight. I think I'm going to go watch some Gilmore Girls when we're done.
Oh, nice. No.
Oh, yeah. So, how's your week been?
It's been good. So, following on from our, I don't know if it was the true crime or the pop culture where you were saying you were or you started watching Stranger Things
Oh,
season
yes.
4.
Yes.
So,
Going on
it
the journey
inspired
again.
me. I got on the journey again over this week or the last week and a bit. And I'm up to the last episode now. So I think I'm about half an hour into it. Fuck me, it's a good season, isn't it?
So, which season are you in?
So I'm up to season 4. I've just started season 4.
Oh, okay. So, you didn't go back to the actual beginning.
No,
Yeah,
because
it is.
I watched it
It's
all very recently from the start, about 6 months ago.
There's a bit of cheese. Like, I've got to say, there
Yeah.
is a bit of cheese. But do you know who I fucking love in it? And I
Eddie.
didn't like, yes. At the beginning, I was like, what the fuck is this guy's dude? By
Yeah.
the end, was obsessed with
He's
him.
funny as fuck, isn't
Loved
he?
his guts.
So have you
Yes.
finished it?
Yes. So I made, after we finished on Friday night, I said to Link, come watch it with me. And he begrudgingly did. I had to, like, really guilt him into it.
Yeah. I love how they are able to refer to each creature as something from the Dungeons and Dragon world they're doing.
Yes. I do love that.
Beckner's curse.
But the whole way, like, I was getting really good, like, because there was so many storylines, right? And it was coming at you from all different directions.
Yes,
and sometimes
there's 3 main stories going
there's
on.
4 really.
Well, when you consider 11 as her own story,
yeah. So, like, and sometimes one episode would focus mostly just on that story, and then it would chop and change a couple of times, but the majority was in that story.
And it was hard because it goes back in time with her visions and all that shit.
Oh, and how messed up was that? The whole thing where she's like her, but then they'd show her as she was little, and then you get confused about
because
whether it was a
her
flashback or
as her current form, as her watching it, but then it was actually her as a kid.
And
which
Link kept getting really frustrated with me. He was like, how do you not understand this concept, Mum? And I was like, because they keep making her look like she looks now. And then it's still when she's a kid, and I keep forgetting that she's supposed, it's back in time one, because it's like her again. And I keep getting confused. And he was like, oh, he just kept shaking his head at me like I'm like the biggest idiot in the world.
But he's watched it multiple times, hasn't he?
Oh, once. This was the second time. So he does it. So the first season we watched together, and then every season that came out, he'd watch on his own because he couldn't wait for me because I was busy. And, like, I only have certain times that I can watch telly. I'm an adult. It's not like I can sit there and binge watch a show in like 2 days. We binge
watch our shows from 9:30 till 11 o'clock at night, people.
And he's like playing his games and shit. I'm just like, so he would always watch the new season and then force me eventually, because I'd be like, it's a bit too teeny boppy for me. I'm not really into it. And he begged me to watch, and finally I'd cave and watch it with him each time.
Yeah, season 4 is great.
Yeah, I'm very keen for season 5.
Yeah, me too.
Forward to seeing how that's going to play out.
But yeah, the other thing I wanted to report is that we fly off to Bali for 6 nights next week, and I cannot wait. I feel very unprepared though.
I feel so jealous. I wish I was going.
I'm looking forward to it. But all other trips that Vinny and I go on, it's usually like, if it's a big trip, it's going back to Ireland to see his family. So then we'd sort of do Europe, but it's 3 nights here, 2 nights there, then off to a new location. Except for when we stay at Vinny's dad's, obviously. And everything is planned down to a T. So each day we're going to go do this, we're going to do this, and we're going to move. Now, this trip, I know it's only 6 nights, but the only thing we have planned is a trip on Sugar Ray's booze bus.
Love that for
you.
Please.
The rest is all ad hoc, and I don't know how I feel about it.
Ooh, I mean, see, that's my favorite holidays. I never plan stuff out. I just get there and wing it.
See, I don't. And I am excited about being spontaneous and doing what we want when we feel like it, but not having every day planned is making me feel very unprepared. But the whole point of this holiday is to do nothing.
To relax and
we'll
chill.
See how it goes and do what we want. Yeah.
See,
at least there'll be shit happening.
If I planned every minute out, like, I do like to plan some things. Like, there's certain things that I definitely want to do this. We have to do, like, book these days for this, but then the rest I'm happy to just, like, go with the flow.
See what happens. Yeah.
Remember when I went through Europe in between your Bucks night and getting to fucking England, and we didn't plan anything. We had we got to London And then we literally planned our flights, and we were there for like 7 days
Wow.
throughout Europe,
Yeah.
just like banging around. Flights got cancelled. We took the speed train. We ended up nearly missing the fucking ferry to come back to
Oh,
Newcastle.
God. Yeah. No.
It was
No.
like
That's too
amazing
much stress
race
for
the
me.
entire time.
Yeah.
And sometimes we literally nearly missed our flight. Like, it was insane. And we had Link in tow. Like, there was times where I was screaming at my ex-husband going, just carry him. We're not going to make it. Just put him on your shoulder. And Link's like, I don't want to go. I don't want to get on another plane. I just want a cheeseburger.
Get on the plane. You'll get a cheeseburger on the plane.
Just pick him up.
But how about you? How's your week been, you stupid bitch?
Look, my week's been good. I did have something that I wanted to mention. Let me just go back to my notes.
Oh, totes.
So,
Totes notes.
I'm going to tell a little anecdote.
Anecdote.
Fuck it up every time. So my dear husband has had a little bit of time to himself the last week, 2 weeks, because he's had some cancelled shifts, so he's been home a lot more. And we have a inspection, because we rent at the moment, coming up. So I've been really slammed at work, and there's been a lot of things on my list that need to be done around the house. So I gave him the task yesterday, because he was home all day yesterday and all day today, of cleaning the bathrooms. So I was like, well, that's my most hated job. You can really help me out by doing the bathrooms, right? So he did, bless his little heart. He got into the shower with the soap, scum, and everything that has been building up that needs desperately to be blasted with bleach and everything. And he scrubbed the shit out of it yesterday. And then he forgot about the actual, so he scrubbed all the tiles and everything, but then forgot about doing the glass part. And then I came home and I was like, but you didn't do the glass. He's like, that's fine, I'll do it tomorrow. So I came home today and it was absolutely spotless. He's done a better job than I ever do. But he also had to do the toilets. Now, the toilets are my most grossest job ever. I fucking hate it. Anyway, so last week he cleaned the toilet for me, our toilet, not Link's toilet downstairs. He cleaned our toilet, and I came home and I was like, you can't just wipe it down. You've got to take all the stuff out. You've got to mop the whole floor. You've got to get in there with bleach. You've got to wipe the whole toilet all around. You got to get in there with the scrubber, get right up in the bits. You got to like fucking do it all. And he was like, what? And I was like, yeah, that's what I do. That's why I hate it. And like, I was talking to my friend the other week. We were talking about doing bathrooms, about how it's like literally the worst job in the world, especially when you live with dudes. And she's got 2 little kids, 2 little boys, like primary school boys, and a husband. And she's like, I fucking hate it. It's disgusting. It's like the worst job ever. And I was like, yeah, it is gross. Anyway, so Tyler had to get in today and clean it like properly immaculate, like ready for our inspection. Our inspection's not for 2 weeks, but it's just that job that, you know,
it's just,
I'll end up
now the
rage
base is
cleaning.
Done. You just have to,
and at least I just have to
keep on top of it. Yeah.
But yeah, and I said to him, because he also did the glass screen in the toilet in the bathroom as well today, because he forgot to do it yesterday. I said, how'd you go? And he was like, oh my God, it was really bad. And it looks pristine. He's done a very, very good job. I'm very impressed by it all. But I was just like, you understand the anger that I have when I clean them, when I rage clean them, and I like end up not talking to both of you for like, you know, half the day, because I'm just so fucking filthy at you. I'm just like, fucking hate cleaning
Clean
piss
up your
stains.
piss stains and your shit smears.
Just fucking aim properly, and if you miss, wipe it up. Like, don't just leave it there. So I felt really heard today. Like, I felt when I came home from work, like I felt like he gets it
validated
now. And now I'm not the only person that understands just what a gross job it is to clean the bathrooms and the toilet, and how important it is to try to keep it clean to a degree.
Yeah. Well,
and not let it get to filth.
You should make it their job now moving forward.
I know. Well, so Link didn't help at all. I would never trust Link to clean anything, because
he just sprays some Febreze in there.
Yeah.
Done.
And then we just fight. Do you know what I mean? Because like, he's home, he could actually do it, but it's the stress of me and him ended up like nearly killing each other, because he will never get it and never clean to my level.
Well, he will get it in a few.
Oh, he'll get it when he has his own kids.
Yeah.
If he has a wife who actually makes him clean. But yeah, I was just like, I'm very impressed. So Tyler Baker, I love you. Thank you for doing it. I'm glad
Good
you
job, Tyler.
understand my rage.
That your piss does stain.
And that it's the worst job. And that's why I hate it. And
What
that's why I
about
get angry sometimes.
in English toilets in particular, and maybe European, I don't know, where they have carpet on the floor?
Oh,
Which
gross.
I get for the warmth, but still the fucking
Disgust.
gross shit that must be in that. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, should we get into our topics?
Yes, plus.
So my first one is Bill Edgar, also known as the Coffin Confessor, also known as the Funeral Crasher. Have you read anything about this guy?
No, I haven't, but I've seen Wedding Crashers.
Yes. Other end of the spectrum. So I hadn't heard of this guy until probably the last month or so. I'd seen him coming up in Instagram stories, and the other night this week he was on one of our local radio stations as well doing an interview. So I was like, fuck it, I'm going to do this guy. Sounds interesting. Googled him, but fuck it, I said, fuck it.
Said fuck it.
But the first stories that I was finding about him actually being reported on in Australia was like from 5 years ago. So it's been around for a while. So
he's Aussie.
He's an Aussie guy, and he's making a shit ton of money by crashing funerals and revealing dark secrets. It's actually very cool. So I heard him on the radio earlier this week, and he has self-proclaimed himself as the only person on the planet with this job. As he says, we're all going to die, and we all have a secret in the closet. It's just a matter if you want it out or not. So basically, people who are on death's door, and not even on death's door, after I did more research in it, people have hired him, young, healthy people have hired him for in the event they go. They haven't paid him yet, obviously, to perform this service. So basically, people who are on death's door or have a big secret will hire him to appear at their own funeral and read out a whole lot of truths. As someone goes up to the lectern to speak at the funeral, in some cases, he will stand in the crowd and start off with, "This is your friend, your loved one. They've left something unsaid. I have an envelope here with a letter in it, and I'm about to read it."
Hang on. Can I just back up for a second? So he's in the crowd, or he actually is a speaker?
No, he's in the crowd. He'll just stand up. So, like, is anyone here to...
wants to say something nice about the deceased,
or like at a wedding, does anyone here object to the wedding? Speak now. So basically the same, but at a funeral. So people just get up.
I don't know that they say, do you want to object?
Don't they say that at a wedding?
Yeah, but they don't say that at a funeral.
No, but that sort of thing at the funeral, like he'll just stand up and go, "Stop." He'll do it at times when people ask him to do it. So in their death wish. So if he says, when the priest goes to go up to the lectern, I want you to stop him and say this instead, yada, yada. So he will say, "This is your friend, your loved one. They've left something unsaid. I have an envelope here with the letter in it. I'm about to read it. If you want to listen to it, great. If you don't, bugger off. It's their funeral." And then reads what the dearly departed have asked him to. So it all started off as a joke when a colleague of his, Graham, had spoken to him about how he thought his accountant was swindling his money and by paying fake invoices.
I was hoping you were going to say, because the whole time I was thinking, how did he get into this? Like, how did it actually happen?
How did it start?
So it started by someone actually asking him to do it the first time. Gotcha.
Yeah. So Graham was also dying. Bill told him to write his own eulogy so he could divulge what he wanted about the accountant. But Graham was worried that his family wouldn't actually read it when it came to him passing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where Bill got his aha moment. And Graham said to him, "Well, I'll read it for you." And Graham liked the idea so much that he paid him $10,000 to do it.
Graham was rich.
Graham was rich, bitch. Well, if he was rich enough to have invoice paid to people he didn't know. Yeah. So in the middle of the service, this was some of Graham's final requests. He wanted his brother, his sister-in-law, and their daughter to leave the funeral. He had
because he wanted to protect them.
He had lent his brother a rather large sum of money to help him get out of some trub back in the day, and his bro never paid him back any of it. And that was after 30 years of avoiding him. So basically, and I hope I'm not repeating myself, So basically what he said was, he hasn't had any interest in seeing me over the last 30 years. He doesn't need to come to my funeral and see me. So he made sure that this guy kicked him out of the funeral in front of everyone. Then when Graham's best mate went up to read the eulogy, he was stopped as he wasn't a best mate, air quotes. He'd been trying to crack onto Graham's wife while he was on his deathbed.
What?
So he wanted this guy to not read the eulogy and shoot him down in front of everyone. Plus also the shit the accountant had done, he had to read out.
Dark.
Isn't it? But like, it's kind of like, and it's funny because like when you're alive and you're like, fuck, I got this shit and this will really fuck him. So even after I've gone, I'm coming back from the grave and fucking him. But after you've gone, everything's meant to be like all forgiveness and it doesn't really matter. Everything's all right. You know what I mean? Like when
people
you're the
absolve
spirit.
themselves from guilt, I guess, because once you passed away, if you have any guilt towards that person, you're like, well, they're gone now. Like if I did any wrong to them, what can they do? So you're like, I guess if you're that kind of person who does horrible stuff to people, you're free and clear, right?
Well, I guess you still got to live with that guilt though, don't you? Like even though you never said or you never got to say sorry or all that shit. But it all took off from there. And literally, he has hundreds of clients on his books. He's gone global as well. He charges between 2,000 to 10,000 for his services. The clients determine
he should charge more if he's like global and he's the only person who does it.
Does it? Well, that's what I wonder. I wonder if there's people in Europe that do the same thing, or now there'll definitely be other people that are trying to pick up on it.
That's why he should be charging way more. So he should copyright that shit.
The clients determine when he is to interrupt the service, which, as you can imagine, could be quite confronting for the mourners. Some of the best confessions that I found, though, were at a bikie funeral, he had to reveal that the past bikie was gay and his lover was in the audience, though no one would ever know who it was. And that apparently ruffled some feathers at the thing.
So he didn't out them, though.
He outed the dead person.
Yeah, but not the person.
Not the
that
other
was
person.
The secret of few.
A woman confessed to sleeping with her partner's parents. Yes, parents. I know. A man came clean about having sex with his brother's wife. See, some of that stuff I feel is quite dark in the sense that this guy's dead and then he's coming clean at the funeral that, hey, I've been sleeping with my brother's wife, and the brother's wife has to be the one that's there to deal with all the...
That's just causing havoc. That's just like fucking, you must live a life of drama if you want to cause that much shitstorm at your funeral.
Exactly. Yeah. If the brother's wife had passed as well, I can maybe get like, oh, okay, you want to let him know now. But if the brother's wife's still there, you're the one that's dumping everything just on her. And of course,
I just want to get everyone so drunk at my funeral that they spew everywhere and then be like,
and applaud at the musical performance of Sky's life.
Spew.
I love you, Sky. I love you.
Thanks for all the shots you forced on me.
Thank God that bitch is dead. An 88-year-old multi-millionaire admitted to being a fraud and never working a day in their life. He has also had to tell priests to sit down and be quiet when the person didn't want a religious service.
Yeah, that would be common, wouldn't it, when family have intervened?
Yeah, which I respect. So he will also provide a service where he does a home sweep and clears out the family home before the family do. But it clears out the person who's passed home before the family do.
Like all their belongings and stuff.
So like clearing out someone's sex toys, etc. So he had a guy, he had a farmer tell him that, he was dying and he'd been taken from his house to hospice care and he was never going back to the farm. So he hired this guy to go and clear all this stuff out so he didn't have these unanswered questions in their head.
Delete everything off my laptop.
Pretty much. And he has signed a deal with Paramount to do a movie or a TV series about his life. And the person that's really interested in playing the character is Marlon Wayans or Damon Wayans, one of the Wayans brothers.
Oh my God.
How interesting would that be?
That is insane. Is there any YouTube videos of him like doing it?
Maybe. I haven't searched. But like it would be random videos, I guess, of him doing it.
How
Like
did you come across this?
So it's been appearing in on Instagram stories, and then I heard him on the radio this week talking about it. So when I googled it, though, there were stories from as early as 2018, maybe 2017, 2013. I can't remember, but he's been around for a while.
Oh my god, that is my mind is just blown.
I know.
Like I think it's like really crazy and really cool and really hectic, but also I think, ooh, like
There's
that's
some
blowing up a
stuff.
lot of shit, isn't it? Like that's just
Oh
like,
yeah,
ooh, and then
totally.
you'd also have to be the kind of person who can absolutely take shit, because could you imagine like that brother who was asked to leave the funeral? Could you imagine? Because people are really hectic when stuff like that happens
Yeah.
too. Like that, he'd be like, "You've got to get out. You've got to take your daughter and your wife out," and then they'd
He
be like,
doesn't want
"Fuck
you
you!
here.
Who the fuck are you? You're not fucking leaving."
Well, he said, and so he has the letter signed by the brother or the person who died, so he can say these are their wishes. And he said that there are some people that obviously get like, what the fuck? But a lot of the people who are there want to hear what their loved ones' last wishes were. So they're actually supportive of it. Oh, so he also said that he's had some people say they want to confess a crime that they committed. And he says, that's fine, but you're not to tell me. Just write it down in a letter, send it to me in an envelope, and I'll open it when you're dead at the funeral. So I only know that information then as I'm giving it.
So he's not an accomplice in any way.
Exactly. And he feels that he's got a letter of someone who committed a major crime, a murder.
Wow, my mind is just blown. I'm just like, what the fuck? I need to actually research this. What's his name?
His name is Bill Edgar.
And I love that it's an Aussie guy who started this. Entrepreneurs, we are. Entrepreneurs.
It's actually, it's a cool thing to think, oh, I'll get this person to do this. And if it takes off where it becomes an actual thing, that's got potential to be a thing that people start doing, not just through Bill Edgar, but fucking.
There's a lot of people with like really, dark.
A lot of people
wishes.
have a lot of shit they want to say, but they don't have the gumption to say it while they're alive, or they don't want to cause shit, but they're like, I'm not going out this planet with this fucking being the only thing I have in my head.
He's giving them like a total outlet, like, but it's also properly just fucking shit up.
There's some shit that's just fucking bad, like about
Tyler's
the brother.
Gonna love this. I can't wait till he hears this.
The brother confessing to sleeping with his brother's wife. Like, I think like that is just like, oh, you bitch. Like, totally, I get why you're confessing it, but like the brother's wife is there going to be the one who has to deal with all the fucking mess, and you're dead and fucked off.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, bye. Surprise gift. Boom. Yeah. But some of it can be cool.
Yeah. I've got a lot of thoughts happening in my brain right now.
It could be positive as well. Like someone who dies, who's like, I've always loved Sky, like, and I've always wanted to rah. And, something like that could be nice. And like your husband wouldn't find a threat to it because they're dead. Although they'd probably be like, what about that time? The two of you went hiking. What happened?
What happened?
Did he lay you up against some wet moss? Ravish you? Tell me. You're like, you'll have to wait till my funeral, and then I'll reveal it all.
I love that so much. It's like my favorite one. It's just so good. Okay, so I have a few to talk about tonight, but I'm actually going to jump to my favorite one because I did a bit of research on this, and you're going to love it.
Oh, I can't wait.
So it's coming up to the NRL Grand Final.
Oh, God, cannot wait.
And sadly...
Up the Broncos.
Don't you dare say that to me.
Up the fucking Broncos.
This is what I'll be saying at my funeral. I'm going to hire fucking Bob Edgar. Bill Edgar, and I'm going to be like, Beto, barrack the Broncos too many times. Get out of my funeral. I'll pay $10,000 for him to kick you. Because who's gonna choreography the musical?
You stupid bitch. Who's gonna do the song and dance?
I'll wait till the musical's done and they'll be like, you get out.
No, you could actually get him to do it in the middle of the fucking musical that I've worked so long to do. In the middle of the musical, cut it short and fucking tell everyone to fuck off.
Storm on in the middle.
What is she doing?
Cut.
I haven't
You're
gotten
out.
I haven't gotten to my monologue.
You barracked for the Broncos too many times when you don't even follow football, and she says you got to get out. So it's coming up to the NRL Grand Final, and this is like finals week. We're down to the final 8. Just wanted to preface that. And sadly, despite absolutely smashing the minor premiers a few weeks ago, on August 24th to be exact, by a massive 32-18, the Eels did not get into the final 8. They
Well,
are
they only
out.
beat minors, for fuck's sake. It wasn't like they were up against the premiers.
Do you want? So the minor premiers who win are the ones who win at that point. So they're also pretty like that's so there's a minor premiership that gets to the top 8, and then they're the ones Tyler would
So
explain
it's
it
a
much better than
completely
I'm
different
explaining
team.
it. Okay. So
Is it
the
different
grand
players?
final week has started, but last week was the end of like the finals of all the teams together. So if you're in the top 8 and if you win the last game based on points and stuff like that, you get the minor premiership. Now we're playing for the grand final premiership. So it's the best team won the minor premiership already last week. At the end of last week, they took it out. That was the Penrith Panthers. So we're the
and where
only
were the Eels in that?
The Eels were quite close. We didn't get into the top 8. So you got to get into the top 8 to go to the grand final. Well, to be a contender for the grand, and they're all going to get picked off now, bit by bit.
So the Broncos are in that.
The Broncos are in it, yeah. So they weren't the minor premiers.
That's all that matters to me.
You don't understand how angry that's making me.
I think I do. That's why I said it.
No, you can't say that to me.
Why
you
do you
don't understand
them?
how much I want to punch you in the face, even
why
though
do you hate
you're
the Broncos?
in.
Just
because I just
Brisbane?
do. Because you can't like the Broncos and you can't barrack for them. It's really important to me.
Okay. You know, we're going to have maroon and gold. It's going to be the theme of your musical at your funeral.
Fucking bitch.
We're going to drape a Broncos flag over your coffin as you go down.
Whatever. Anyway, I need to educate you while this is my bit, okay? It's a part of an education piece as well as me doing the segment for this episode.
So the top 8.
Okay, so even though we didn't get into the top 8, the minor premiers who won the minor premiership is the Panthers. We were the only team to beat them twice this season. They're
so
not undefeated, but we beat them. We've smashed them. We smashed them a couple of weeks ago. It was too little too late. We've had some, and we didn't even have our best player, which I don't think he's the best player. I think he's fucking completely overrated. And Tyler will kill me for saying that. But
what's the player's name that you're referring to?
Mitchell Moses. Huh? But my favourite player, Clint Gutherson, scored 3 tries in that game. Love Clint. Him. He's 28 and he's had 91 tries in his career. And he's had 19 tries and 16 goals this season. Please go, Clint. We love you. Clint. You're the king.
And a try for the American listeners doesn't mean that he tried. It means he scored a goal.
American listeners, I think, in some degree understand how NRL works because it's starting to become something over there now. Okay, just shush. So I thought I would take this moment to enlighten you on who is winning and who is tipped to win. Ebbs will love this because I really, really, really hope that the Warriors take out the premiership, but they are not the favourites to win. So that's the New Zealand Warriors plus. So even though the Panthers won the minor premiership, I fucking hate them because they've won the last couple of dumb years anyway, and they're just grubs. They're just super grubby. So the contenders this week. So we're into the top 8, okay? So the contenders to play this week. Tonight is the Broncos versus Storm. Do you need me to elaborate on where they come from? Obviously, the Brisbane
Melbourne
Broncos.
Storm.
Oh, well done.
Thank you. So is this now, though, the point where they will drop out of the finals? Yes.
If you lose, you're out. You don't go on to the next round. So that it'll just keep, going down. So hate the Broncos, obvs. So, and I also hate the Storm.
Why do you hate the Storm?
Just hate them because they're dogs and they're cheaters. So they cheated a couple of years, or it's probably about 8 years ago. And then they the
They've
premiership
hazarded.
off the Eels one year, and they were cheating because they were not observing the salary cap.
Yeah.
Yada yada yada. It's all political, plus.
You need to watch that Batuka fucking episode about the Super League.
Oh,
Super interesting.
I know. I remember when the Super League was out years and
Yeah,
years
I
and
remember
years
the
ago.
whole debacle about it
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
And as you may know at home from this topic, people, I don't follow NRL, but I watched that Batuga Advocate episode on the Super League, and I was
And
pretty
you
much
really enjoyed it,
enthralled.
didn't you?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
And
And
I
all
love
about Laurie Daly from Canberra Raiders, and
I
yeah.
love the Batuta Advocate. Like, I share articles from Instagram all the time with them. I'm always like, ha 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 ha. It's quite funny. So yes, I do want to watch it.
But whatever happened to the West City Bears?
That's Belinda's team. So they've again, Tyler will hate me for my interpretation of this, but they got not kicked out, but they were a feeder team, I think. And then I don't think they could keep up with being a big team, I think. But they were, that was years ago. That was like the 80s or 90s, I think.
Yeah, I remember in the 80s when NRL trading cards were a thing.
Yeah, she's
and
a
that's
massive
where I started
Bears
getting
fan.
That shit. Yeah.
If you get her drunk, she always talks about them. She's like, bring them back, bring them back. They're still a small team, I think.
40 years ago, B.
Her and Tyler get into heated arguments about it when they're super maggot. So overall, if the Warriors, Sharks, Newey, or Raiders win the grand final, that will make me happy.
So who? The Newey, the Sharks, the Warriors, or the Raiders? So
I'm
the
gonna
Knights,
say
the Sharks, the Warriors, and the Raiders. So you're picking 50% of the teams left. So
no, I'm saying I'm okay with it because my team's out.
But that's
so I don't
okay.
have
That's
a team
good odds. If you 50%,
I'm not picking it to win. I'm saying I'd be happy if any of those teams win. I don't want Storm, Panther, Broncos, or Roosters to win at all. So I'm like, boo to them, and I'm going to be barracking against them the whole time. So Ebbs, if you're listening, I 100% out of all those teams I've just talked about, I'm totally going for New Zealand. I think they deserve to win. So my money's behind the Warriors. Go Warriors!
Well, that's who you want.
Yes.
All right. Well, look, I think 20 minutes is enough on NRL.
Who do you want to win, Bino? Are you going to tell Ebbs that you're also going to barrack for the Warriors?
No. So if I can't say the Broncos,
you cannot.
I will root for. See, I always like the Storm too.
I thought you said you like the Sharkies. Go for the Sharkies.
Okay, I'll go for the Sharkies.
Yay! Go the Sharkies.
Winning
I'm
at
okay
Shark
if
Park.
they win too. I'm okay if the Sharkies win.
I'll go the Sharkies.
Yes.
I now am a Royal supporter. I'll get myself a jersey and a flag.
You're a Sharky supporter. I love that for you. That
and
makes
I hate
me
sharks.
happy.
That's like my most
you do hate
horrendous
sharks.
fucking
you really,
fear in life.
really hate sharks. I know how much you hate sharks.
So
Shark
maybe
Week!
this might be, maybe this might be a sort of progression in my life. Like I combat my fears.
Yeah, you're
I
like coming
sharks.
to terms with it. You're like facing sharks head on. You're like, I love them. Just not in the water, okay, guys?
Yeah.
Just not in the water.
Just on my face.
Just playing football, not in the water, guys.
Yeah, I like land sharks.
I love that for you. I'm going to get you blue and white. I'm going to get you a jersey now.
my next one is the Burning Man Chaos. So have you seen any of this?
Okay, so I've seen tiny bits, and I also saw that Ricky Lake has posted this whole thing about how she had the most amazing, life-changing experience at Burning Man.
Oh, it's Ricky there.
Yeah, Ricky was there with a new beau.
Go Ricky.
Lots of loved up mwah, mwah.
Kisses.
Yeah.
So first of all, what is Burning Man? Burning Man originated as a small function in 1986 on a San Francisco beach, but more than 60,000 participants now travel to and from the remote area in northwest Nevada every year where it's now held.
I'd go. Would you go?
I'd totally go.
Yeah, totes.
Attendees gather in Black Rock
Put it on
Desert.
the bucket list, shall we?
Totes. We'll go to that and then to... What's that other big American one?
Oh, Coachella.
Coachella.
Yes.
Coachella Plus.
I would just rock
VIPs.
the shit out of that.
It would just be VIPs. We're from
SBSW,
StupidBSayWhat.
VIPs.
Thank you.
We'll have a little stage with our podcast going on.
Yeah. Putting to you
Answering
live from
FAQs.
Catrell and the Burning Man. So attendees gather in the Black Rock Desert to create Black Rock City, a temporary metropolis dedicated to community, art, self-expression, and self-reliance, with the festival culminating in the burning of a large wooden structure called the Man on the penultimate night. And you know what penultimate means, don't you?
The big night?
The one before the end.
Oh, okay.
This hasn't occurred this year. So around 70,000 people were ordered to stay put and conserve food and water as officials closed the roads and exits after a rainstorm turned the site into mud. Did I say all those words wrong?
No, you didn't. I'm just laughing because the Batuta Advocate has been covering it the whole time. I'm thinking of all the funny articles that I've seen based on what you're saying.
So photos and videos on social media showed attendees trudging through thick mud and dirty water, with some facilities out of use and many events cancelled. Hashtag Splendor in the Grass, please. It's just a standard festival in Australia.
I know,
except for the cancelled events.
You got to be able to deal with mud, mate, if you're going to Splendor.
Get your gummies on, you'll be fine. Other videos showed some partying on in the rain with costumed revelers, including a few children, sliding through the sticky mess, most of them covered from head to toe in wet earth. Thousands of Burning Man attendees ready to make their exodus on Monday, the 4th of September, as a counterculture arts festival. As a counterculture arts festival in the Nevada desert ends in a sea of drying mud instead of a party around its flaming effigy namesake. Rain over the weekend turned the once hard packed ground to a mudslide, and according to authorities, one person has died at the event.
Oh God, so somebody's died.
Providing few details, so it could have been a drug overdose.
Can I just say one
An
thing
investigation is underway.
Before you go on. So the Batuta Advocate was saying, like, heaps of people were like, it's cool, man, I'm just going to walk to like the main road. And they were like, you cannot try to go alone on the
and
road
hitchhike,
because you actually can't hitchhike. You're in fucking the middle of nowhere. And also,
you're in a desert.
Yeah, you're not going to get picked up. So as much as you can rely on the land, there's nothing to rely on. So don't embark on your own. You're just going to die.
Exactly. So the festival site is located about 24 kilometers from the nearest town and 180 kilometers north of Reno. So it's a big walk if you are walking in a desert. Diplo and
so
Chris
were the cars
Rock,
that fucked up that the cars just couldn't move either? Like the mud was that bad they couldn't get out.
They shut all the roads because it was a hazard as well. So if you went through it, floodwaters and shit like that.
Yeah.
So Diplo and Chris Rock had to flee with the civilians by walking and or hitchhiking out of the site.
Helicopters, plus.
And our very own Casey Donovan was there and stranded too. Did you know that?
I did see something on it. I didn't read much about it, but I knew she was there because I remember you saying to me she was there, I think.
Yeah. I may have sent you the screenshot of, I'm doing this. So, yeah. Burning Man turned into a Splendor in the Grass and the country went to shit.
Yeah. At least the center in the grass, you're far.
Yeah.
But you're still in Byron.
And you got your gumboots. You know what you're doing. Put the music on, light up a doobie.
You can boil some water from the ocean if you've got a fire, something to boil it in.
Do you boil salt water? I don't know if that's the thing.
No, can you?
I think you got to do like an evaporation technique where you sort of have it with the salt crystals.
There you go. Thank fuck I'm not in Slender with you.
It's fine. It's fine. Drink the salt water. I've boiled it.
I'm dehydrated. My skin's peeling off. Like, let's just drink the seawater.
What are you drinking? Hot seawater. Salty, but it's fine. I boiled it.
It's funny.
So what's yours? What's your next one? You stupid bitch.
Because I jumped to that one because I researched that one more heavily than I researched any topic. Was the NRL stuff. Okay, let's talk about
I have to say, I enjoyed the NRL a lot more than I thought I would. That topic discussion.
How long is so happy?
When you said it, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. But now I'm like in.
You're a Sharky supporter for
I'm a
life.
Sharky, Shark Park.
We're going to get you flags. We're going to get you beer mugs.
Stubby coolers.
You're going to have shot glasses. You're going to get your little toy sharks.
People will be like, who's your favourite player? I'm like, I don't know. What do you think of their last game? I do not know.
Tyler will be like, Vito, come over. We're watching the Sharks tonight.
I'll be like, no.
We'll go to the pub. Hey, Vito, your team's on. They're winning. You'll be like,
Which one are they?
Oh, there's the blue. Blue one.
Oh, yeah. Go Sharks.
It's a power blue too, not to be confused with some of the others.
A powder blue or a pale blue?
It's like this blue.
Oh, I'm into that.
Yeah.
Makes my eyes pop.
It does. That's why I'm getting you a jersey for Christmas.
Yes.
You're gonna look hot in it.
You like the Sharks? No, they just make my eye pop.
So I'm going to talk about Kevin Costner walking away from Yellowstone. So have you seen everything that's been going? It's been going on for months.
I've seen Yellowstone up to the point, like it's half season, isn't it?
Yeah, so we're at the end, right? So what happened is, from the bit that I've researched, so basically Kevin Costner had taken some time off from Yellowstone in between the filming peaks and troughs, whatever, to make his own little Western show. And the episodes are like an hour and a half or 2 hours or something like that. Like they're movie length episodes for each show that he's doing. It's a whole Western thing. Yeah. Independent, completely independent from Yellowstone. And what's his face? The dude who does it. I forget his name. I always call it's Tyler Sheridan. Tyler Sheridan, that's it. Or Taylor Sheridan. No, it's Taylor Sheridan. So anyway, there's been speculation in the media that they had creative differences and stuff like that. And both sides, like, so Kevin Costner's side and Taylor Sheridan's side is like, nah, everything's cool. It's all happening. So apparently he didn't show up to, I don't think it's Comic-Con, but one of those other like things.
Yeah.
Where all the actors went. Yeah, he didn't show. And they talked away. And they talked away and they were like, yeah, he had like, conflicts or whatever, he's still a massive part of the show, but there's been all these rumors about him walking away, blah, blah, blah. So now he's going through a divorce with his ex-wife. So they've been married for, I'm going to say 18 years, but it's been a while. They've got 3 children, like primary school age children. I think he has other children from other marriages as well. So like there's this nasty divorce. They're saying that it's about him having an affair with potentially a co-star. That's all allegations. That's all just media hype. That's not confirmed in any shape or form, whatever. So now he's actually being like, everyone's like on him because he's like in the divorce courts, like it's all happening. So his wife, his ex-wife now, she's challenging there's a prenup. So he had a lot of money before they were married. Like, think of like
Dances with Wolves,
exactly,
Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves,
Bodyguard, plus,
Field of Troops.
Oh, plus. So he obviously came into the, marriage with lots and lots of cash. So there's a prenup. She's been fighting him in court because apparently she's only supposed to get like $30,000 a year as maintenance. $30,000 a month as maintenance. He turned around and said,
I'd be okay with that.
I know. So he turned around and said, look, I'll give you 112 or 120 or something like that. She was trying to get like 180, even though the prenup says that doesn't happen. But I think she's claiming infidelity. Right. You've got to prove that too. In America, it's very different in Australia how that shit goes down. But she's got to prove that. And then he said, look, I'll give you like 112. And she said, no, fuck that. I want like 180. So then he came back and said, like, no, he came back and said, I'll give you the 112. She said, nah. And then the court ended up turning around and saying, well, you've got a prenup. You're not actually supposed to get anything. You'll get $63,000 a month. And she's bitching that she can't survive with 3 kids for $63,000 a month.
Jesus.
And look, I get it.
Is that just maintenance?
That's just maintenance. So I
Oh,
get you
yeah.
get to a point where you've been living with like a multimillionaire or whatever he's worth.
It's a lifestyle,
and you
yeah.
get used to a certain lifestyle. But like if the prenup doesn't say that you're supposed to get, like, you take the 120, man. So now
Totally.
the
But
court's
you'd
actually
want
said,
that beyond the kid's 18th as well. For the
"Mm,
rest of your life, bitch.
yeah, well,
That's alimony, though, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. So she's saying she couldn't live on it. Now the court's actually said like he was going to give her like 110 or 112, and the court
She
said, no,
hasn't.
actually, no, you can have 63.
So she shot herself in the foot.
Yeah,
Stupid bitch.
so $63,000 a month to look after 3 children. I think, oh, how sad for you.
Yeah, totally.
That's really difficult. Anyway, so they've been like harassing him when he's been walking out of the court and stuff like that, or the reporters. And I think he said something that he maybe shouldn't have said when his lawyers weren't exactly present. But basically, he commented on the fact that he doesn't want to be part of Yellowstone and he's prepared to go to court over it because he's not coming back.
Well, I heard that this season was the last season.
It always was supposed to. I think they were trying to make so they split it into 2 parts. So the season that's just come out is only the first part of that season.
Yeah. And the next part's meant to be the last.
Apparently he's not coming back for the second.
Oh, wow.
He's completely just axed them like he's out, and there's all these like in-house fighting. Like, and I think Taylor Sheridan in his own right like went really big very quickly. Like he became super popular. Like he's been in the industry for a really long time, then all of a sudden just became like this god in the industry that can do no wrong. Every show it comes out is amazing. So imagine like him up against Kevin Costner, who's been a god in the industry for like 40 years.
Who doesn't need Yellowstone
butting
to
heads
boost his
together,
as well. Yeah.
like about creative differences and stuff like that. So it's just like, 2 guys like measuring their dicks pretty much, like going, hey, come on, like you do what I tell you to do. And the other one's like, no, fuck that. You do what I tell you to do. So it's come down to that a little bit from what I can ascertain.
Toxic masculinity, if you will.
So it looks like at this point, so filming has obviously been halted because of the whole
writers' strike.
Writers and Actors
Guild.
Exactly.
If you don't know about this, listen to our last.
It looks like Yellowstone, they might just actually start the episode where he's been in a terrible car accident and he's dead.
Oh, no, I reckon they'll make it something like Jamie killed him or something like that.
With him actually not acting in anything, like we'll never see him again in the last, which is like,
unless they have some sort of other footage that they can use about him.
And I feel like I get it. Like I get that, I don't know the situation. I'm not part of it, so I can't actually say. But do it for the fans. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just, I was going to say that to you. Season, like just finish it. Well, for the even fans, just do an episode
where you get killed off. Yeah, totally. Put your own ego behind yourself and just do it for the people that are actually supporting you.
But I think now all the back shit is going on, everyone knows about it. People are going to make their own opinion. So they're not going to love it as much as whereas if they just quietly resolved it between themselves and just went, you know what, I don't want to be part of this. Death. Yeah, I don't want to be part of this anymore. I want to walk away. Let's just can you write me out? Let's agree to do that. We'll make it a huge cliffhanger. No one will expect it. We'll like shut down all the scripts so no one knows. It's like a huge, like, but now everyone knows that even if he does come back, he's going to be killed off or he's going to be sent away or some dumb fucking way. It's like, what are we even doing? Like the reason you've got your money is because people want to watch it. You know what I mean? Like just fucking do it for the people.
And he'll end up shooting himself in the foot with it.
Well, I don't know. I'm not going to, I'm over him. I love Kevin Costner. I've always loved Kevin Costner. I love everything that he does. But now I'm like, dude, if you fuck me over with Yellowstone, you're dead to me.
You're going to be a
fucking dead to me.
Yeah. You're a Broncos supporter, bitch.
But I feel like I have to go into my next one because it's part of what I'm talking about. Oh, because the whole Kim Catrell
so you're taking
thing.
2 stories into one. Wow.
Because it goes hand in hand, you know what I'm saying? Like we've spent so many episodes on the podcast talking about the SATC, Sex and the City, our love of it and what's happened with Kim Catrell and how devastated I've been about the whole thing. And now she's come back for 71 seconds. She got paid allegedly over $1 million for 71 seconds that she appeared in the second season, which I haven't even finished the first season of.
I haven't even watched any of.
Because it's just like it's not the same show in any way. Yeah. It's just weird. But like she
But
was
she
like,
sat in the car taking a phone call or something.
yeah,
Isn't she?
exactly. Like she missed her flight. She couldn't get back in time to see Carrie say goodbye to her apartment or some bullshit like that, I think is what they're saying. But it's like, why carry on for all that time about how you couldn't do SATC again? Like
Yeah.
they weren't offering you enough money and then you come back. Like, I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's not about you guys.
Yeah.
It's about the quality of the show, please.
Well, pretty much that is fact. Like, I get it that you're a person, you're doing a job and all this shit. And
This
you've got
is your job,
values,
though.
but your job relies on the fact that you've got popularity. Like,
yeah,
the reason why you're where you are now is based on the fact that you've had so many fans that are invested in your show and your character.
exactly.
So fucking deliver.
Do what you're actually paid to do and give the fans what they want. That's the only reason you're there and bitching about money.
It's like someone saying
people
to you,
love you.
Why didn't you respond to my email? Your boss, why didn't you respond to my email or do this job? I was like, I felt very fucking violated by the way you spoke about this, so I'm not doing anything for you now. Just continue paying me.
Yeah, exactly. It's bullshit, and I feel very jaded right now, actually, about my favorite people in Hollywood.
There's a bit too much fucking entitlement, really, isn't it?
And I get it. I get that the job is hard. I get that life is on display. I watched this clip the other day of, Adam Sandler walking out of a hotel and all the paparazzis on. He's like, yep. And they're like, your hat's so cool. Where'd you get your hat from? We want to tell everyone where you got your hat from. He's like, I forget. It's this hat. It's this style. I don't really know. Can I just get into my car?
And that's a different side of it all. Though,
that's awful. Like, that's horrible to just be living your life and just constantly being
Scotty, we would be fair. We would love that. What
wine
are you drinking? This is Riesling.
Yeah, we would for maybe 10 years, and then we'd be like, fuck is all.
Yeah,
fuck
exactly.
Off.
You and Sky have to record another podcast. Fuck that bitch. Do you know what she said to me?
He talks shit about fucking
the Brisbane
NRL,
Broncos.
And his favorite team is the Broncos.
I will
never speak to him
podcasting
again.
with that bitch again.
We are done. Over my dead body, will there be another podcast?
And then we pay you $1 million for a 71-second fucking appearance.
Okay. Sure. And I want handbags. I want my outfit to be like $1 million as well.
And I want to film it while I'm in Milan. All right. So my article is plants screaming when they get cut.
Obviously.
Oh yeah, totes.
I already knew this. Plants scream all
This
the time.
one is really
so does
short,
your hair.
Though. Oh, I didn't know that.
Your hair screams when you cut it, according to my auntie-in-law, who's insane.
Oh, well, then that's validated. So here's one for the vegans and the veggies to ponder. Apparently, scientists have discovered that plants let out an ultrasonic scream when their leaves are cut or when they don't get enough water. The study has found that plants
my plants all the time, screaming at me and wilting down to nothing. My mum comes in, she's like, your plants need water, Sky.
Can you not hear the screams?
How can you not see how fucking wilted they are? I'm like, I'm doing it. I'm watering them. Look, watch me.
Like, oh, yeah.
Is this red enough for you?
It's pink. So the study has found that plants make high-pitched noises that humans can't hear, apparently when they are stressed, infected, or cut. The plants start clicking frantically, which is quite sad because they're probably feeling us all around them going, help me. Why the fuck won't you help me?
It's certainly my plants in my house.
And they're screaming and we have no idea. And we just keep drinking and dancing and singing around them. They must be like, you're monsters. You're absolute monsters. But what do you think this will do if this is proven to the cause of vegans mainly? Because vegans...
It's hard to say because they're not human beings.
Yeah, but neither are animals. Or do you mean vegans aren't human beings?
No, I do not mean that at all. I have vegan friends. I respect the cause. I do feel that there's something about not eating.
I have friends that are vegans.
I do think it's healthier for you if you can actually live that way
Oh,
without
see, I don't
cheese.
think it is. I think that vegetarians can be a bit healthier, but there's also a lot of irons and minerals from fucking.
Have you ever eaten vegan cheese?
I don't want to eat hazelnut cheese or
It's the most
macadamia nut
disgusting
cheese.
thing you'll ever
Yeah.
eat in your life. I've had a cob loaf that's made purely from vegan
Ooh.
cheese, and I took a scoop and I went, "What the fuck
Uh,
is this?"
uh.
It ended up in a tissue, then ended up in a plant
I
at
think I've just
someone's
eaten some
house.
melted plastic, guys. I think that's the plastic top on this cob. But yeah, like, you know how like a lot of, and I don't know the whole ins and outs of why vegans are vegans, but a lot of it is because they're not using from
Animal,
animals or any
anything, any
produce from
eggs, anything where
animals.
animals are not produced in, like, a nice
So
way.
it's like they're not being, well, what do you call it when you sort of take advantage of a situation or an
Manipulate?
animal? Maybe
No.
anything that's sort of taken from the work of animals, but now
I hear
and
what you're
like
saying. I
causes them
can't think of the
stress
word
and
because
what
I'm
it
pretty
is.
drunk now. I've had a lot of vodka
But if they
sodas.
know that now it's causing pain to fucking plants when they cut and eat them from the soil of the ground, if they're like not doing it through the whole fucking, what is the word about oh my god, totally drunk and totally fucking forgetful.
Look, I think that they've always known. I think they don't really care about plants. I think they've always known that, well, plants die.
What's the next? What's that? Is everything? What's the next level beyond vegan though? If you're like, okay, so I get plants now feel
You eat
trauma.
dirt
You just eat dirt. Yeah,
and
water and
wood.
dirt
Well,
and
wood's
wood.
still trees.
It's a plant. Yeah, it's just dirt and ice.
We're going to get hate mail from this episode. You realize that, don't you?
Well, look, any interaction is good interaction, I say. So the next topic I'm going to go into right now is Fyre Festival 2. So
Oh,
firstly,
yes, yes, yes. Which is pretty much like what happened at Burning Man almost, right?
well, no, the Fyre Festival was a lot worse. So you have you seen the absolute shitstorm
No,
that
but
was Fyre
I
Festival?
have read a lot about it.
There are two documentaries about it out at the moment called Fyre, the greatest party that never happened on Netflix. Watch it, super good. And another one called Fyre Fraud on Hulu, which I did the Just Watch search, and it's not streaming anywhere now in Australia, but I'm pretty sure it was on Stan when it was first released, and I'm pretty sure I watched it. Anyhow, basically, a mid-20s guy named Billy McFarland, who bears a very strong resemblance to Seth MacFarlane, but apparently is not related to in any way, was able to get millions of dollars from investors to invest in this festival concept he had, the Fyre Festival, FYRE. The problem was he basically spent all the money on promotion, parties, and his very exuberant lifestyle instead. So here's what he promised: a 3-day party on a private beach on an island in the Bahamas that would occur over 2 weekends, so 2 3-day parties in 2017. It was described as being an immersive music festival. Guests could expect to party on white sands. There was going to be huge music acts, gourmet food, private jets for guests to fly to the island, luxury accommodation, and all the trimmings. And guests paid in their thousands for tickets. But when it came to it, he didn't have the money to back it up. And guests all went over.
He spent it.
He spent it. So instead of going over on private jets, he just put everyone onto this one large jumbo jet. So like all in economy class and all this shit.
So he was like sitting there when it happened going, fuck.
And well, he was on the island at that stage. He's
How
like,
do I budget people over?
Yeah. Jetstar? Can I have a Ryanair?
Tiger.
So they were all miffed about going over on a jumbo jet to start with. The accommodation turned out to be a sea of dome tents with mattresses in them. And the day before or the day of the event, I can't remember which, that they were all setting up, a massive thunderstorm hit. So everything gets drenched, including all the mattresses that were out in big piles. Bands start pulling out. The first batch of guests
This would be a festival that I planned.
It's cool. It's cool, baby. Cool. Let's put the radio on.
That's just all like Wi-Fi in.
Hey Siri, play top 90s hits. On
Who
shuffle.
wants to pick a song? Anybody can actually no. That song's shit.
You
It's my
pick, I
turn.
pick. You pick, I pick. And they're gonna be bangers. They're gonna be bangers, crowd favorites. Yeah. Oh, my Siri is playing. Here I am, come and take me by UB40. And it
Is
hurt.
that your banger list?
I don't know. I don't even know what that song is.
I know
So
that song.
the massive thunderstorm hit. So bands started pulling out. The first batch of guests arrive on the bus and see the tents and are like, what is that? Turn the bus around now. Like, turn the bus around now. What the fuck?
Because
And
they're all rich kids, aren't they?
very, very rich kids. They basically end up being stranded on the beach where it turns into a scene out of Lord of the Flies. People are grabbing their bags, their suitcases, and mattresses and running to tents and like, get that tent, quick, go, go. It's chaos. The food that they were promised, the gourmet food that was meant to be like all this sushi and Michelin star quality shit, ended up being bread with a slice of fucking plastic cheese on it. It was a complete shit show. They interviewed the staff and some of the guests in this documentary, and there's one older guy who tells how the authoritative person over the island, I can't remember what their title is or what their position is, wouldn't release the fresh water until they had paid some money or levy or something, which was all part of the deal. They had to pay this money to get the fresh water, which they didn't have the money for. So Billy tells this older guy who's like a colleague of Billy's and been around him a long time and really rooted for him and shit. He tells the guy, the authoritative person, that he doesn't have the money, but he will get someone to suck his dick if he gives the water to them. And then Billy talks to this older guy who is gay and works for him to go and suck this guy's dick so they can get the water. And the older guy works himself up and he's fully prepared himself to go and suck this guy's dick so they can get the water. But when it turns, and there's a whole meme about this thing too that went out afterwards, and it was like,
is this in the first show?
This is in the documentary. Yeah,
oh my
the first
god,
one. You
I
have
have
to watch
it.
So there's this whole thing, a meme that went out. It's like pay with MasterCard, Visa, American Express, and then a picture of this dude. So he turns up. I won't give any spoilers away. So it's quite sad for some of the workers, so as they lost a lot of their own money in trying to make stuff happen with what they had. So there's like the woman that was in charge of catering that was told to provide all this sushi and shit, had limited money and was giving the people bread with cheese just to give them food. She lost thousands of dollars out of as well. And they end up being a GoFundMe thing where she got her money back, which was great after the documentary. It's super interesting and totally worth a watch. And I don't want to give away any spoilers, but just like the Titanic, we know it sinks at the end. And boy, did it sink. The recent news, however, is that Billy McFarlane's coming out and wanting to do Fyre 2, a new festival. And I'm ashamed to say that the first two lots of pre-sale tickets have sold out already. Like,
because they all want to be involved in the next fucking documentary.
Drama of it. And these people have way too much money. And I cannot wait to see how this unfolds, but totally watch it. Fyre, the greatest festival that never happened.
But you know what's going to happen is that people are going to get behind him because people are paying money.
And but that's what happened in the first time. But yeah, it'll probably be a success. Who knows?
Yeah, it will be. You watch, because everyone's come together and been like, we're going to make it better this time. We're going to someone's going to come in and manage the whole thing. And
who's the guy that did Pimp My Ride?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember Pimp My Ride?
I do, but I don't really care about it. So
I think he's involved in the first Fyre Festival as well.
Oh yeah, there was a few celebrities who were involved in it too with that guy.
And they paid a lot of Instagram influencers.
Yeah. They got it off like because of him, and then they got fucked up because of it as well.
Yeah. Yeah. His saying was, we're gonna fucking do something like millionaires, do this like something else, and we're gonna fuck like porn stars. But yeah, he just looks like such a dweeb. What's your story?
Okay, so
Please.
my last one is about the whole Jimmy Fallon being
Oh,
in like
yes.
a situation where,
Yes. An Ellen
everyone.
Sitch.
Yes, exactly. He's like and I love Jimmy Fallon. You know how much I love Jimmy Fallon. So basically, a couple of his staff have come out. Well, a bunch of staff have come out and said that it's a really toxic environment. It's the same thing of Ellen. It's
Yeah.
a toxic environment. So they've come out and said it's really horrible. They don't get the accolades that they should get. Some of the commentary that happens on set and some of the way that they're treated is really questionable. But it's very weird because there's nothing specific. Like there's no specific thing that happened that's like
Yeah.
outrageous where you
That
go,
is different
like,
to any other working environment.
exactly. Like every working environment is toxic. Do you know what I mean? Like there's so
Well,
many situations where you're like, oh, you've got the boss that you hate, or you've got the people that you work with that
co-worker who does
are
nothing but gets
super
paid
rude.
more.
Exactly. And are
Yeah.
super rude to you or send horrible emails with awful things. And then you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, that's just dealing with people, I think. Do you know what I mean? But apparently they're all saying that also he's a massive alcoholic. He comes into work hungover all the time. I would come into work hungover all the time if I was Jimmy Fallon because I would be partying with all my celebrity friends all the fucking time.
Does he do a daily show? The Late Show with Jimmy Fallon.
He does a late show, so I think it's like Monday to Friday. I think he does like a weekly thing. So apparently, like he's always hungover, not drunk on set. Apparently, they're saying that he has an alcohol problem. I'm like, please.
Who doesn't?
What's the
It's
definition of an
post-COVID,
alcohol?
motherfuckers.
What's the definition of an alcohol problem? Though, really, like there's such a scale.
The thing I read was that
I'm rejoicing that I've had 2 weeks where I haven't drunken during the week.
Alcohol problem? What alcohol problem? I read one line that just said, like, if he was in a bad mood, then it was a shit day in the office.
Yeah,
like,
but what does that mean? What does that mean? Like, what did he actually say? Because you know what? Like, I'm sorry for people who have been through the situation, and I hope that it's all bullshit and it's not really happening. And I hope that Jimmy Fallon's a really nice guy because I love him. But also, work is hard.
Look, there's certain people in life that don't work for money, they work for the love. There's some people that are like that actually love their jobs, but there's a majority of people that work to live, and that's the only reason you do it. You know what I mean? So like, you're going to end up in a situation where you may not have the best job in the world, or you may not love getting up.
You may be a shit kicker.
You don't get up in the morning going, yes, can't wait to get to the office.
And maybe it is a generational thing, like, and I hate to say that because we're going to get hate now from this, I'm sure. But like, it is something about like, there's sometimes you have to do something because it's your job and you hate doing it.
Yeah,
it's
totally
the worst job in the world.
Yeah,
and you're like, I want to kill myself.
Yeah.
And I come home from work and I like literally hate my life. But it's like, I get paid to do it. So, what am I going to do?
It's not that bad where I'm actually
find something else then.
dreading going to work.
Yeah. Well, like lots of people dread going to work though every day.
Well, then that's when look, I've had jobs where I've woken up in the morning and I literally had a pit in my stomach going like, oh, I do not want to do this. Like that type of dread. And that's a bad environment for you to be working in.
Absolutely.
I mean, I would rather not be working right now and just be living off.
I would love
lots of
to
money.
be at home baking every day.
All right, my last story.
Okay.
So this is a story that I'd seen coming up in my feeds again. And I was like, this is from fucking years ago because I've seen it before. But when I investigated, because I thought, it'll be funny, it actually only happened this week. This version of this story. But there's been other versions that have happened previously.
I wasn't expecting you to say that. I really wasn't.
So
have a sip of your wine, you drunk bitch.
A passenger's poop has turned a flight around. So a Delta Airlines flight from Atlanta to Barcelona. Poop.
Please, everybody poops.
Yeah, but this one is obviously very bad. So a Delta Airlines flight from Atlanta to Barcelona was forced to turn around after a passenger had explosive diarrhea. The Airbus A350 had set out on time.
And that's a big one too. That's a big plane.
That's the biggies. On 1 September, with 336 passengers on board.
Ooh, that's a
but
big
was
plane.
first forced to turn around over central Virginia after just over an hour of flying. The pilot tells air traffic control, "It's just a biohazard issue. We had a passenger who had diarrhea all the way through the airplane, so they want us to come back to Atlanta." Delta told CNN that the flight was delayed just over 8 hours, but landed in Barcelona without further incident on Saturday, the 15th at 5:16 p.m. It's so Saturday would have been the 6th. It is not known if the passenger who had the digestive problem was aboard the plane when it touched down in Spain. It's not the first flight this summer to have the passenger experience disrupted by bodily fluids. This week, Air Canada issued an apology after 2 passengers were told to sit in inadequately cleaned seats that had been covered in vomit on a previous flight. The incident happened between Las Vegas to Montreal. So, he had a big fucking party on August the 26th. On June 30th, a traveller on Air France from Paris to Toronto found his seat's footwell still wet with the previous passengers' blood and diarrhea.
Oh, blood.
Habib Battar told CNN that he noticed a strange smell, like manure. But when he alerted a flight attendant, he was handed wet wipes and had to clean the area himself before being offered blankets from business class to soak up the waste. We had to sit there smelling the blood and poo for the next 7 hours, he said. So I have, as I said, seen other reports on someone's poo making a plane turn around after takeoff. How fucking mortifying is that?
See, I've never been in a situation like that, but I know a story about. I'm not going to tell you the people who were involved in it, but when these people had been through the US for a really long time and wanted to come back to Australia desperately and had small children with them, some young women got on a plane that was a 20-hour flight and had been partying the whole time and were clearly inebriated when they got on the flight, sat there before the flight took off, and one of the young girls started spewing into her lap, and her friends were like mopping it up with their jumpers and stuff like that. But these people who tell the story were so desperate to get home with their small children and had been on like fucking, they'd been in the airport for like 20 hours. They were like, fuck this shit, we need to get home. Like, we can't stay in this airport any longer, to the point where they helped hide it because they were just like, even though it was the most disgusting thing and there was spew everywhere and there was blankets full of spew, and they sat through a 20-hour flight smelling of spew, they were just like, we guts to get back to Australia.
We're not doing a detour.
We've had a gutful. We're not going to do a standover in the airport for fucking that much longer. Like, we guts to go.
I get that. Totally, yeah. What was I going to say?
But yeah, if it's poop, if it's blood.
Yeah, blood's gross. Yeah.
Yeah, like you can't deal with blood. Like, you don't know what it is. You don't know where it's like who poops and blood. Like, who poops and there's blood there?
Who poops on planes is what I want to know. I am, even when we
you
fly,
guts to go, you guts to go.
Even when we go to fucking Ireland, I will hold on to that poop until I get to the house that I'm at. And yes, it's a mighty poop when I get there, but yeah, I can't. I'll just pee on the plane. And I've been, when like you go to the toilet and there's a line. And I remember going in after this one chick, and she was a decent looking gal. And she came out.
Some of those decent looking gals do the worst fucking stankers.
And I walked in there, and fuck me, it was like sniffing shit smelling domestos. It ripped through my body.
I can't hold my poops. If my poop's got to come, it's got to come.
Oh no, I will make sure I hold it.
I can hold some of them. I can brew some, but when it's coming, it's fucking coming, mate.
Oh, like, when it's turtle heading, you've got to go. But if I can hold it, I'll hold that.
So you've never turtle headed it. You've been on a lot of planes in your life. You've never pooped on a plane. Are you saying that to me?
Look, I can't recall specifics.
You've been on lots of planes when you've been fucked up too, so you can't say to me that you've never pooped on a plane.
I may have pooped on a plane, but I don't think it's been like a big, decent poop where I've been like, oh.
Where you've had blood and shit and the plane's had to turn around.
Exactly.
I can't say I've ever done that. I might have cleared the bathroom. I can't, and I'm just saying this in general because I know my poop's really bad when I do poop. But like, I can't recall a situation where I've actually done it. But I'm saying if I got to really poop, but there's no blood there. There's no like fucking blood on the floor and stuff, or poop coming out of the toilet.
It's not a code nana. Where you gotta go. And if I have a code nana, then I'll go. But
I've never pooped in my chair.
Or on the footstool. Good old poo.
Oh, this is an outrageous episode, isn't it? We've touched on some subjects. Well, thanks for listening. We hope you got everything you dreamt of from listening to us today.
That was pre-written, I have to say, but super accurate. Tune in next week for True Crime America, where we will each tell a tale from the smorgasbord of grisly tales coming from the grand old USA. I love True Crime America Week. And don't forget, if you like what you hear, tell your mates, please, and then tell us through our social selves. Not like face-to-face. We want that shit written down. We need proof.
We love the face-to-face, though, but yeah, write it down. Send some reviews, please.
And remember, if you're whining, you're winning. Good night, you stupid bitches.
Good night.
Good night. If I'm
Take
ever
us out with a rendition of Stupid Bitch. Go on, go. You stupid bitch.
Yeah, that stupid bitch. You're a stupid bitch. What a stupid bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what you get when you listen to the end, motherfucker.
Spoiler alert. That was live. Yeah, that stupid bitch. He's a stupid bitch. What a stupid bitch. That stupid bitch.